I do a lot of post-processing on the iPhone. I think that's what it's about, is just using apps to create your own personal vision, you know. I'm going to show you just a handful of what I use. It's very complicated and free-flowing. I think the key is to know the apps as well as you can, and then let your imagination just let it go wild and try everything, you know. We're going to begin with a rather easy app to use called Diptic. You can basically just go in here and make like a series of frames. Let me search for that, so I'm not sure where it is, and you can do that too. You get to a certain point that the apps kind of get lost in your computer, basically, or the phone here. And here's our various options. And I'm going to go over to the one with the these right here, 4 squares. And then since the hip thematic format, which is what I shot the house portraits in, is also a square format, you just click on each one, select from photo albums. Got a lot of photo albums, a lot of photos here. So I'll be scrolling a lot until they find a way to give you folders on the iPhone. I'm afraid that scrolling is a way of life with this thing. And I'll just very quickly grab one. These are just 4 portraits of a great row of Victorian houses on Beach Street, which is the street right next to the ocean. And again, you got to go back in. And you learn after a while about where things are. And then for balance-wise, probably this one. Now I was hand-holding, so they're, you know, a little bit off-center, unfortunately. But this is just the idea of just how to use Diptic. Select one more. This is where if you want to get things perfectly square and if precision is important, it's really best to use a tripod. And then we'll drop in this one here. And if I get, you know, like if I don't like the order of these, I can go in and change them later. I won't do that now. Let me move this over to the last one. Let's go in here again. And I'll move one over. I don't like where that's sitting. I'll drop in the greenhouse next. And right back here. And I tend to lean to the right a bit, not politically, but when I take a picture. And then we'll drop in the last image here. And then you have a quad. That's good for like people portraits, family. If you have like 4, mom and dad and 2 kids, that kind of thing. You can drop those in here. And looking at this in terms of balance. Anyway, that's the idea. I would probably move these around a bit, but there's your quad. And at this point, you can basically go in here and say export, and that's where you, go to here with the arrow, there it is, and save the photos. And then from photos, you can email it to family members, friends. Takes a second to get them together. It's rock and roll time, it says here. All right, popping them in, see it? Real low, there it is. And there you go. In the photo album, you can email it from here, or go to your photo album, and right here, and they always appear last. And from there, you can send it also. You can also assign to a contact, make it somebody's picture if you want, use as wallpaper, etc. There's a few adjustments that are possible here, especially if you need to actually buy the paid upgrade. And then you can change the size of these boxes that are in Diptic from square to horizontal to thin to thick. You can just slide along here and change the size. And then after you have the image up, you go back, and we'll go back to Diptic again. Double click the home key. Get all the open files. Okay, if we're here, now there's a way to go in here. I believe it's effects, borders up top. See it? And then you can go in here and make the borders bigger. You see them? Make them smaller. Get rid of them. So you have the grunge. of all the hipstamatic borders. A little tight though, so you'd want to create a little bit of space in there. And a lot of times you can choose black or white, and black can be a little dense. See, it gets lost in the dark areas. So I suggest most of the time you can go with white. But you can also adjust the color, whatever you want. Normally black or white is the way to go with this stuff. You can make it a little bit thinner if you want. There you go, something like that. Have a little space in there, works pretty good. And then again, you would just export that, and then this little flying arrow comes up, and then we'll put it back in the another version in the folders, your photos folder. And lining up the frame, etc., and then it just pops them in one at a time. And there's 1, 2, 3, and then 4, and then that's your Diptic quad.